Hey, what's up guys? Mitch back with another episode of Movement Mondays. Today we're talking with the beautiful Nicola.
Hi everyone.
And we are taking a look at her squat pattern, some interesting stuff that we're seeing with her. So first off, she is probably the strongest woman you'll ever meet. She has competed in a whole whack of competitions, strength training, conditioning, bodybuilding, after the age of 50, the youthful age of 50. So she's awesome. We're going to show how to make her a little bit more awesome. So we actually weren't even treating Nicola for this, but we kind of took a look at it and saw some issues with her squat. And this is relevant to anyone out there, for you guys who are having issues with your knee, ankles, if you had any kind of past sprains or strains or tears that you haven't quite taken care of. You can look awesome like this, but you might still have restrictions happening. So if we take a look at just the squat pattern here for Nicola, so we're going to go ahead and watch her squat.
Okay.
Awesome, and you guys can see when she kind of shifts over a little bit, so she sort of shifted that way a little. Come back up again. And I'm going to sneak over, we'll just zoom in on her and have her go again. Good, and you can see she's shifted a little bit to the side, so she's kind of veered off. Come back up. Great, and if we can actually zoom in here a little bit onto the camera, I wanted to take a look at her toes. Did you do nails today?
I didn't. I didn't.
But if we see, you can actually see she's starting to get a bit of a shift on her, more on that left side than the other. And you can see it shifted up. Awesome. And if we have her on her back here, great. So then we start thinking about ankle range of motion. So she's squatting, she's doing all this weight, she's doing fine, but her ankles don't quite move as well as we'd like them to. So if we bring her ankles up into what we call dorsiflexion, if you guys can sneak and see that she has a pretty significant restriction on that left side. I don't know if you can see that on camera there, that she can't quite get up as far on that side. So when she goes to squat, she runs out of room and goes out somewhere else. And then we start talking, and turns out Nicola has a bit of a calf tear that she had. She had surgery how many years ago?
20.
20 years ago. So 20 years ago, she also had a fracture on this leg, and now she's squatting and noticing she can't quite get to the position she wants to. So we have a couple ways we can improve this. So if you're someone that's got a restricted ankle, this will be something useful for you. But more importantly, if you got a tear and you're the strongest woman in the world, we can make you even stronger. So first thing that we're going to do is we have a torture device, so a ball or a foam roller. We've done this one before. We're going to take a look. You can take this, grab this ball, put it in underneath your calf. And for Nicola, we're going to work on that kind of painful area in there, but we're going to kind of sneak it back and forth. She can take her leg and place it over top like that, put some weight on it, and then she can pump her foot back and forth just like that, and she'll feel it kind of digging in.
Oh, yeah.
It feels terrible.
Yeah, it does.
In all the right ways, and she can kind of find spots that are a bit more tight or less tight, or more painful or less painful. Okay, so that's number one. Spend a couple minutes opening up through there, and make sure you work all the way up. If it feels weird, it's probably weird. Take a break. The other great option, if you have any type of muscle issue, knot or tear, your joints and muscles aren't moving well, is these things, tight bands. You can get, they're called stretch bands, voodoo bands. You can wrap this pretty tight and snug around the area, so we can actually feel a palpable bump on her, on Nicola here. So we take it pretty tight and just sneak it around on here. Make sure her feet don't go blue. And you put some pretty good compression. Sometimes I'll even put a piece of dice or something on it to get increased compression. But you wrap that around nice and tight. Great. I should do some editing if I knew how to, just speed this robbing process up. Good. And then you would
like a mummy.
Tuck that in. She feels like a mummy, and then she'd pump her ankle up and down like that. Great. So she's pumping back and forth, moving through. You can get up and squat with this. You can do all your movements, but it's really important to kind of open up that ankle and let that calf slide back and forth. Two great ways to open that up. Perfect. I'll let you unravel that.
All right.
And the last thing I'll just show is to get into the calf to stretch it out. The last thing you can do is get that foot pinned up against the wall, kind of a heel pin stretch, squeeze your butt and press it up towards the wall and really open up the back. This is more of a static stretch that you can do. So 3 things we did today. Again, if you're the strongest woman in the world, you just want to be stronger, or you had an ankle strain or a tear of some sort that's limiting you, some things to try. Try out one of these kind of floss bands to open up those movements. If you have one of these things, work on your ankle to improve things a little bit with the ball or with that static stretch. All right? Hope that helps, guys. If you want to be the strongest person in the world, check out Nicola's Facebook page. What is that?
Oh, it's Nikki Smith, and it's UFE Pro Fitness.
Yeah. Can you flex for us? Yeah, she's bigger than me. I get it. Thanks a lot, guys. Remember to move like you mean it, okay?